What's up, members of the Barrio? It's John coming to you from the financial district, and we're going to take a break from the typical travel guide videos I've been making, and we're going to get a little bit personal. I am going on almost a decade living in New York, and have I learned anything? Yeah, I think I have. So today, a little change of pace. I'm going to be sharing 10 things living in New York City has taught me, and not all of these things are good, so make sure to stay tuned until the end. Here we go. New York City has taught me to be a more considerate person. Now this might sound strange because there's this misconception that once you move to New York, you're gonna become hardened, you're gonna become rude. No, I actually have seen far more rude behavior from tourists visiting New York than I've ever seen from locals. And if you are an inconsiderate person living in tight quarters, like living in Manhattan especially forces you to do, you're gonna run into problems all the time. And I can just give you a quick example. The last couple of times I've exited the subway, I kid you not, when I was leaving the subway, there were people trying to jump in at the exact same moment, and there was a lady behind me both times who started yelling at them saying, "Excuse me, can't you wait for other people?" If you were an inconsiderate person in public constantly, I think that you would have a pretty tough time living here, and that just goes for little social norms. I am so much more aware of my surroundings here, not being rude, and always trying to just be the best person I can. New York City has taught me not to be shocked by a whole lot of things, and you live here long enough and you see just about everything. I mean, there aren't a lot of things I haven't seen in the streets of New York, and I think anyone who's lived here a while knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I have a great story to illustrate this. And I'm actually calling this a bad thing, not being shocked. You know, it's good to be shocked sometimes. I was walking past the West 4th Street subway station about 2 weeks ago, and as I crossed the street, I turned and I saw that a garbage can was on fire. And my first reaction was, whatever. And then I stopped and I'm like, no, this isn't good. What, you need to be shocked by this. This could be a bad thing for the people of New York City walking around. And nobody reacted. I was this close to calling the fire department or getting closer to investigate, and then somebody jumped in and put the fire out. It wasn't raging, it was just starting to build up. So that's just an example of how New York can harden you a bit to things. And I'm not saying it's made me rude or inconsiderate, as I just discussed, but it takes a lot of things to shock me. New York City has taught me to appreciate food a lot more, and I probably have to thank my YouTube channel a lot for pushing me outside of my comfort zone, but the opportunities to try exotic and interesting foods are endless. When I moved to New York almost 10 years ago, eating pad thai was considered an exotic experience. Fast forward to 2019, I've eaten duck embryo in the city. I just ate Persian food the other day. I've tried just about every kind of cuisine there is, Bengali food, going to Jackson Heights with my boy Greg from Food and Footprint, shout out if he's watching. You know, it's opened up my world, and I think it's helped me appreciate other cultures as well through their food, meeting owners of different restaurants and food trucks and seeing that experience and really, learning what New York City is all about. And I think that the food options and the food opportunities here are such a great thing and easily overlooked by not just people that live here, people even traveling here, I think, need to explore all the amazing food options and diversity that comes with it. I don't know why, but I feel like I stepped onto the set of American Psycho. There's nobody around really in the financial district. Very, very cool. New York City has taught me the value of the immigrant hustle. And there's a lot to this, including my own personal story. So I'm a first-generation American. My parents are from Ukraine, and their immigration started in New York City. They moved to Brooklyn in the late 1970s before settling in northern New Jersey across the Hudson, where I was born and raised. And just starting with them and then meeting all these amazing immigrants and people in New York City who are coming here for a better opportunity and seeing their work ethic and their hustle, it's so inspiring. If you're visiting New York for the first time, 99% odds the person that picks you up at the airport in a taxi, an Uber, or a Lyft is going to be an immigrant. And they are some of the hardest working people in New York City. This is a city that was built on immigrants, and I have been so inspired by many immigrants that I have met, including my parents, obviously, being raised by them, and all the incredible stories in New York, starting with immigration. So that hustle it's great. Even my wife, Adriana, is an immigrant, and she is hustling. She's actually trying to start her own business right now, drawing pets. You want to check out her Etsy. Cool Christmas gift if you have a dog or a cat. Gonna link to it above. New York City has taught me that walking isn't so bad. As I walk right now, I grew up in the suburbs, and walking 10 minutes to CVS was considered a hike. Meanwhile, in New York City, I average 1 to 2 miles a day walking, and this has translated even into my travels after I've come here. Whenever I travel, especially to urban areas, I'm trying my best not to rent a car. I don't miss driving. I will rent a car when I have to, but I actually appreciate the health benefits of walking a lot. I'm always trying to position myself in my travels in central areas, and I think all of this stems from the fact that I've lived in New York City so long without a car, and I find walking to be very liberating and a great way to explore cities as well. We're in front of Delmonico's right now, home of the $100 grilled cheese. If you're feeling baller, hit them up. Did a video there once. New York City has taught me that it's okay to pay for convenience. And what I mean by this is that in New York, you have a lot of choices as far as, what you're willing to pay for a lot of things in life, like your rent. I spend $2,700 a month to live in Greenwich Village because I love the neighborhood and I love the conveniences that come with living in a very central, hip area in downtown Manhattan. Now, others may disagree with me. If you want to go out to eat in New York, you want to order food in New York, it's expensive. You are paying for conveniences. The more conveniences you want in New York City, the more you're going to pay. You want to live near the subway. You want to live in a doorman building, paying for convenience. This keeps going up and up. And when I travel, I realize that too. If I want to be in a better area, you're going to be paying for it. It kind of prepares you for that reality in life. It's this perfect microcosm of the world, New York City. You want conveniences? Pay for them. Simple as that. New York City has taught me how to numb my senses. This is a bad thing. Numbing my senses. Well, living in New York City is a bit of a sensory overload for all of your senses. You walk outside your apartment and you see weird things sometimes. I could ignore it. You hear loud banging noises in the middle of the night. You hear people shouting. You hear construction. Learn to zone it out. You smell funny things. Smell can be tough. If I smell good food, I get hungry. But walk past the fish market in Chinatown, wherever you're walking, there's always funny smells. Kind of learn to zone those out. You're packed like a sardine on the subway, touching people. Learn to zone that out. In fact, living in New York helps me appreciate nature even more. I am far more keen to noticing the sounds of a stream or the sounds of the ocean. In fact, I just booked an Airbnb in Puerto Rico, and one of the selling points for me was the fact that I could hear the ocean at night from the window, which I could never do from my apartment in Greenwich Village. So yes, unfortunately, New York has taught me to zone out a bit, to numb my senses when necessary. I don't know how they're not cold, wow. New York City has taught me that there's not one clear path in life. I have been so inspired by other creative people I've met in New York City and people in many different fields who are trying alternate paths. They're not doing the typical 9-to-5 existence, get married, have kids, retire, that sort of thing. I compare that to where I grew up, some of the people that I knew from high school, looking at their Facebooks, and a lot of people look pretty similar. Nothing wrong with going the traditional life path at all. I'm not saying that. But New York City has opened up my eyes to all the different possibilities that there are in this world. And I think it's because of the type of person that New York City tends to draw. The dreamer, somebody who's trying to accomplish great things. And it could truly be contagious, just being surrounded by these people, calling them your friends. That's something that New York has taught me. And I don't know if I would have learned that living in some other places around the world, living in the suburbs where I grew up, where life can be a lot different. New York City has taught me that I am perfectly happy staying home. Now, what do I mean by this? Living in a place that has so many options for entertainment and leisure. You know, my first 5 or 6 years, I went out a lot. Maybe getting married and having a long-term relationship helped affect this a lot too, I don't know. But I've done all the nightlife things, I've explored New York so much, and I still have so much exploring to do, but I am perfectly content right now, not feeling like I have to go out on the weekends or every night. I don't have FOMO that much anymore because I have just seen and done so much in New York City that I don't have any regrets. And maybe there's people that are out there that wish they lived in a bigger city and wish they had more options of things to do with their free time. I know that whatever I want is out there, but I'm also perfectly happy just being home and relaxing. That's a lesson maybe you didn't expect me to say, but something I have definitely learned. New York City has taught me to be comfortable with myself. And that might sound really basic, but it's true. In an anonymous place like New York City with 8 million other people, if you can't be comfortable being yourself, whoever you are here, where are you going to be comfortable? In a small town where everybody knows you? I think that's one of the draws of New York, one of the charms of living here is that you can come here and completely reinvent yourself and be happy with that. And that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. You know, reinvent your fashion, reinvent your friends, reinvent your career, reinvent your love life. I am just so comfortable right now with who I am as a person, and I think that living in a place like New York City has definitely helped me achieve that, because there's endless options here to be whoever you want, and people that understand that are people that I think are drawn to living in New York. It can have such a great effect on you. You did, actually. It's a wide lens. You made it. You made the video. You're welcome. Members of the Barrio, tell me down below in the comments what you thought of my lessons. If you've ever lived in New York, you currently live here, tell me something you've learned that I didn't discuss. I'm curious, and make sure to check out our other New York City playlists, all linked down below in the description. Hope you learned something from my crazy life story. Until next time, thanks for watching.